Hey guys, so recently I put up a video about Nigel Owens, the rugby referee, and how he gets such fantastic respect from players. I'm overwhelmed by the amount of people participating in the comments. It's been brilliant, and what I've done is I've tried to explain why it's different in football, why it's harder for a football referee to get that respect. What's preventing a football referee? I said I'm a football referee. I'm a level 5. I would love to get to level 4, which is county official. But I can't pass the fitness test. That's my problem. I'll get into that with more detail later on. Now, this video is going to be a bit of more of a discussion, more of a chat than following along to a video, because there's only so many times I can say in the comments the reasoning behind why it's harder to be a football referee. So first of all, let's start during the game. Let's think about the abuse a referee gets. You can get so much abuse from the top level to the bottom level when you're a child refereeing, an adult refereeing. And there's so many places you'll get abuse from. You've got players on the pitch. You've got managers and coaches on the side. You've got spectators, whether that's spectating the team or it's parents at kids' games. That's a lot of abuse, and especially at the lower level when you're on your own. You only start having linos either in cup finals or at county level. So until you're at that stage, you're on your own. You're that one person in the middle, surrounded by 22 players, the managers, spectators. It can be intimidating. Now, I'd like to think you've got to be fairly thick-skinned to be a referee, but there's only so much you can take. And we saw that in the video I think last week, where during the Ipswich game, the referee squared up to the player after getting abuse from the player. There's only so much abuse you can take. And now people said in the comments of the Nigel Owens video, well, in rugby, it's instilled from being a child that you respect the referee. In rugby, you're allowed to deal with it. There's sin bins, there's yellows, there's reds. You can deal with it. So we're going to focus quickly then on dealing with the problem by sin bins, red cards, yellow cards. Now, sin bins were introduced a couple of seasons ago from county level down. So for me, it's the Wessex level, Wessex Football League, down to where I am. Sin bins have been brilliant because what's so good about sin bins are that if you have to sin bin a player, they go off for, say, 10 minutes. And it's not just, if you give a yellow card, which it used to be, just give them a yellow card for dissent, well, great, it's a yellow card, they still get to carry on. They're not letting anyone down unless it's obviously a second yellow. But by sin binning, it's good because they're off for 10 minutes. Their team is now down to 10 men probably, unless someone is already in the sin bin, then it's less. And it's not just, they're letting down the manager, they're letting down their team, so then they're less likely to do it. And I found at our level it's been much better because they realise that their team is going to be annoyed with them. So the abuse has got much better. Don't get me wrong, it's still there. But from players' side of things, it's much better. However, what's the point if it's only at this low level? What's the point? Why have the FA now need to think, well, okay, well, it's working at the lower levels. They need to bring it at the top. They need to bring it up at the Premier League level and lower. Because how many children are watching football, match of the day, for example, watching live games, how many of these children are then learning from these top players? And therefore, when they go onto the pitch, when these children go onto the pitch, they behave like idiots. So until, for example, sin bins have been introduced at the top level, it's pointless. It's absolutely pointless. Very few kids go and watch local league football, do they? And learn from that. So that's one thing that needs to be overcome. There needs to be stronger punishments for parents, spectators, and managers. Now, I can send a manager off. I can send players off. At local level, I can get rid of parents, for example. I can get rid of them as a referee. And I'm a little bit more confident doing it. You're not going to be that confident if you're a 16, 17, 18-year-old coach refereeing kids football, and you've got a manager or parent screaming at you. You're not going to have it, and that's going to ruin you. The support's not there from the FA or from the county FA. You're on your own. So there's that problem. It's got to start at the top. It's got to be starting at the top where these children are watching. It's got to. Now, so there's that abuse. Sin bins are great, but it needs to be at the top. And a second thing, I've mentioned this a few times. When you're a referee and you're going for promotion, and even when you're not going for promotion, but especially when you are, you're looking for 2 marks. So you've got to get high marks to get promoted. Now, I've seen this in the Wessex League, which is what is it, Tier 7? Something like that. So you have liners, you've got in the middle. And some referees have been brilliant, some are dreadful, but some have been brilliant. Okay, so they're assessing, when the assessor comes and watches them, they get fantastic marks, top of the pile. However, it's not just for promotion. It's not just the assessor's marks that you've got to rely on. You've got to rely on the club marks. So after a game, a club gives you a mark out of 100. So what happens if you've just sent one of their players off for dangerous play, for a reckless challenge? They're not going to give you a high mark. They're going to give you a low mark because you've sent off one of their players. Well, how's that fair? You've done the right thing as a referee. You've done spot on. However, because that club has given you a low mark, that ruins your chance of promotion, because you've gone from being really high up with your assessors to then your club marks going right down and you're near the bottom. So you won't get promoted. Well, how's that fair? How is that correct? Now, I don't know the system for promotion in rugby, so I can only talk about football. But how is that fair that you can get fantastic assessor marks, be the best referee in the league, but you send a player off for dangerous play, for almost breaking someone's ankle? The team doesn't like it, so they give you a low mark, and that ruins your promotion. And I've seen it. I've seen it with referees. I've been on the lino. I've seen a fantastic referee. They've done what they should do as a referee, followed the law, punished by the club marks. How is that fair? So that's the problem with refereeing straight away. On the side of support as a referee, you don't get the same support in the sense that I can only really speak from county level. So my county FA, are they there to support me like I would like them to? I've had problems. And I don't think they have been there to support me. I think the best person I've had a few instances, and that's a few instances. I had one time where I was doing a game and spectators came onto the pitch. So I spoke to the appointment secretary at the time, and he was brilliant. He dealt with it. He was brilliant. He reassured me. He was really kind. I have another local appointment secretary. So an appointment secretary is basically, they get the fixtures from the league and they appoint all the referees to the games. So the local Southampton appointment secretary is really nice. He's really friendly. He when you speak to him, he's kind and friendly, and he's there to support you. So if you've got a problem, he will support you and he'll treat you with respect. I think higher up, from what I've heard, you become property of the FA. You become, if you don't do as you're told, they don't want to know. I've had an incident where with a different appointment secretary, I've put dates, so you have to basically say when you can't referee and when you can referee. I did all that. Appointment secretary double books me. You do all your admin right, and he still finds problems. When I then go to my local FA to ask for their support, they didn't want to know. They didn't want to know. They really didn't want to know. So is that supporting you? No. So you feel like you're on your own as a referee in football. You know, you're on your own. And it's demoralising. And these are some of the reasons why being a football referee has such a high dropout rate. They are so lucky, though, as a football referee, that there's a high take-up as well. But referees don't last because things like the abuse, the support, all that. I'm just going to mention one other thing. I might do another video down the line if I can think of other reasons. But as a referee in football, you have to do what is expected, not what is right. That's the problem as well. Now, you have to deal with players, managers and spectators telling you you're wrong. If you end up sending off, yellow carding too many players, you as a referee have to deal with the consequences. You have to explain why. You have to, the chances, if you're going for promotion and you're given all these yellow cards and everything, it's not expected. Therefore, you have the problem now. No matter how bad the teams are, and I see in the comments saying, you know, football referees need to do what rugby referees do. If there's back chat, bang, yellow card. You know, they need to be dealing with everything more. But that's not the way you're taught. You're taught a stepped approach. You're taught speak to them, then deal with it. You're not taught to get your yellow card out straight away. And sometimes I don't think you need to. Sometimes I think it can be managed, and that's what you are taught to do. So I understand that. However, by doing that, by allowing them a couple of chances before you deal with it, then they know they can get away with it once or twice before you deal with it. So if you're watching a football match, you can visibly see the dissent. So you can get away with it a couple of times because, you know, and as I said, as a football referee, if you're just chucking out cards, you're not seen to be a very good referee because you're meant to manage it. Well, sometimes, and I keep saying this comment, if you nip it in the bud, then it won't keep happening. Which you're so correct. You guys are so correct. If you just go bang, 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 shut up, leave me alone, stop talking to me, whatever, you know, it will probably deal with the problem. It really will. But as a referee, you get in trouble because it's not expected. So until things are brought in at the top, then nothing will change. The expectations of a referee don't change. You're expected to manage. You're not expected to deal with the problem. You know? I've just had a comment earlier on today saying how referees are giving fouls for the softest of things. Why? Because it's expected. It's expected to give these fouls. You have to obviously have a line somewhere. What is a foul and what is not? And I think this might be for a different video of why players do it. But it's the gamesmanship of footballers. They feel a touch and they fall over. And as a referee, you've got to decide what was the foul and what was not. You know, did the player initiate the contact himself just to get the foul? You've got to decide that, and it's subjective all the time quite often. But those are a few things why it's quite difficult to be a football referee. I would love your thoughts. I would love if you're a rugby referee or you know about the rugby system. What are the comparisons with like I said, the club marks and the assessor marks for promotion? Is there anything similar that holds referees back? In the fact that you can have a really good referee getting good assessor marks, but you get punished by the club marks. Let me know, guys. I love the conversation. I do my best to comment back to as many comments as I can until I lose track. Like I said, I may do another video later on down the line about the players' behaviour, about the diving, about the gamesmanship, about the arguing back and things. So if you want to see that, let me know. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed. Like, share and subscribe, and I will see you next time.